Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to my review of a version 2 of one of the best new watches by the best new brands to launch in 2022. The Namika Shirahama was a big hit on Kickstarter in December that year, selling over 600 pieces. And no wonder it had Blade Runner styling, it had Japanese cool by the bucket load, it had great specs and a great price to match. Then the brand launched their second watch, the Okami, in early 2024. Another bold and distinctive offering, proving the Shirahama was no fluke and establishing numerous distinctive design traits. Not an easy thing to do in a saturated micro space. No wonder the brand made my top 25 global micro brands video later that year. Well, here we are in the middle of 2025 and the brand is back with a version 2 of their Shirahama, the watch that made them famous. But Namika has grown up, it has evolved, and so has the watch. No more Kickstarter, they're taking pre-orders direct on their website, and there are a raft of improvements. So the watch looks the same, but performs much better. The price though has also evolved. More on that later. This is not a moan free review, so make sure you watch till the end. Now you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by Namika. I will therefore of course leave a link to their website in the description of the video. The watch went on sale earlier this week. They're running a 2-week pre-order, so you've got until the 19th of August to get your order in, and they're expecting to deliver in December this year. Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. Alright, let's crack on, and look, no matter what nits I pick later on, props to Namika. I am a jaded and cynical watch reviewer who's getting long in the tooth. Takes a lot to impress me these days, and when I opened the packet on these ones the other day, I said, wow. Now, it isn't the pink one. The pink one is pretty nice. It's that one. This is their signature color version. This is their Neo Tokyo colorway. It's so distinctive and it's really spectacular. I mean, have a look at it in these outdoor shots. Check the light play in these outdoor shots. Beveled edge box sapphire crystal. It's got such a dynamic dial. It goes from pink to purple. It's got a vertical brush. It's got a fade. It's got a fume. It's got everything. It's got that hexad bracelet on it. There's a lot going on. It's got to be one of the most distinctive and spectacular micro divers on the market today, without question. I was sent 2 of the 5 different color versions for review, and I will show you both of them over the course of the video, but I think I've rather declared my bias already. I've told you which one is my favorite. That dial is pretty spectacular, so I will be focusing on the Neo Tokyo. I suspect that's where most of the sales will be going anyway. So there are 5 different versions available this time. There's a white dial, there's 2 pink dials, one with kanji numerals on it, there is a blue dial, and in the middle, front and center, the Neo Tokyo. There is something missing from the lineup this time though, more on that later. So if this is the Shirahama version 2, then how is it different from the Shirahama version 1? Well, I guess the most fundamental upgrade, and it's definitely an upgrade, is they've gone from a Seiko NH movement to a Miyota 9000. It was an NH38 no date, it's now a 9039 no date. Changes to the bracelet as well. This one is much more refined. It's still at that hexad style, but there's much more taper here. They've upgraded the clasp as well. They've gone to one with internal on-the-fly micro adjustment rather than the old 3 holes in the side of the previous model. They've changed the glass. They've put that beveled edge to that box flat sapphire crystal. Stylistically, I think that's a really nice improvement as well. But fundamentally, stylistically anyway, it's quite similar to the previous model. You can definitely tell that it's just a version 2 rather than something entirely different. I referenced the Seiko Samurai in my original review on more than one occasion, and you can see why. It's got a kind of similar angled effect to the lugs. Samurai doesn't have a 4 o'clock crown though, but they've carried that over from the version 1 of this watch. Great set of dimensions on these as well. 40mm in diameter, 12.2mm thick, with a 46.5 lug to lug. That is really compact for a 40mm diver. If you have a smaller than average wrist but like a 40mm watch, then this one will fit you well, particularly because of the inverted mid-link as well. 20mm between the lugs. I mentioned earlier, much more taper on the bracelet. It tapers all the way down to 16 and back up to 18.5 at the clasp. As sized for my 7-inch wrist, 143 grams, 200 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown, sapphire, beveled edge, boxed sapphire, and the Miyota movement is a 9039 as mentioned. Caseback's pretty much a carryover from version 1. It's got that kind of Japanese wall scroll in the middle of it and some nice etching. The only thing that has changed is one of the specs around the outer edge, that being the upgrade of the movement. Bezel action on this, by the way, is pretty fantastic. 120 click, unidirectional, rotating, dive time, there's no backplay, there's no bounce, and as you can hear, it's really noisy, which is actually quite satisfying. Right, case finish. The last watch didn't have to worry about case finish because it was blasted throughout. This one does, so there's a mixture of brushed and a little bit of polish here and there. Kind of vertical brush on the sides and there's a brush in the upper lug surfaces, but look, the tip of the lugs there's a bit of high polish and there's a high polish bevel where the lug comes down to meet the end link. High polish coin edge bezel, kind of matching the knurled crown. Now very small crown guards on here, unsigned crown as well, by the way. The bracelet is a noticeable material step forward from the last watch, much more refined. Nice brushed upper surface, high polished edge, although I'm not quite sure it should have a high polish edge given the case is brushed and the side of the clasp is brushed. They have retained those inverted end links though, like I said, great for smaller wrists and general comfort. Now, the bracelet is held together by screws, but more on that later. This clasp, we've seen a version of this clasp on, hundreds of micros now. It's pretty much become the default, which is a good thing. You always have to deal with a slightly longer clasp than you would do because of the internally adjustable mechanism, but it's a small trade-off and well worth it. The upper here is very solid and the lower scissor is milled. Alright, dial in hands, and I promise I'll put my bias to one side for a moment or two and I will show you plenty of the pink watch. Both of them have the same layout, very traditional index layout, so triangle at 12, batons at 3, 6 and 9 and circles everywhere else. Even more traditional on the pink one because those are full applied indices. There's also a very traditional Rehaut chapter ring with minute markers, although they've added an extra bit of colour. They've used yellow on the 15s on the pink watch. Talking of colour, who knew that lime green would match so effectively with pink? But I think it does. The minute hand here obviously is that bright green colour, certainly makes it stand out from the white of the hour hand and the white of the indices. They've carried over this fence post handset from the version 1, although they do seem to be a little bit smaller and a little bit less impactful therefore on this new version 2. Seconds hand is also a carryover, big lollipop. It's a very long seconds hand, but they've added some stripes to the tip for some reason as well this time around. Branding is minimal though, just the Namika brand printed above the pinion and automatic printed beneath it. And in a more traditional colour combination, they've mixed in a little bit of baby blue to go with that baby pink in the form of the sapphire bezel insert, graded to 15 with numerals on the 20, 30, 40 and 50. So that's the pink one then, nice colour combination, and you can get that one with kanji numerals if you prefer. But it's the Neo Tokyo version that I prefer, generally speaking. I love what they did with the indices here, that very traditional layout, but they hollowed them out in the middle and they've carried that over to the version 2 also. And it's such a dynamic dial. You've got 3 different elements here. You've got that vertical brush, a kind of metallic style brush. You have got a fume, it fades to black almost at the edges, and there's also a vertical fade. It goes from a bluer colour at the top to a more violety purple at the bottom. It's very effective, especially when you're moving the watch around, as you can see here from one of these dynamic shots. Baby pink features once more, but this time it's on the minute hand and also on the compass points of the Rehaut, and the bicolour bezel here is black on top and white on the bottom. Yeah, big props to Namika for taking what is a fairly standard dial layout but adding their own twist to it and doing it really well. On wrist, no surprises whatsoever, good size, good shape, good weight, short lug to lug, big clasp, but it does balance out the watch head nicely for a clock crown so it's not digging in. And the case back, perhaps you noticed from earlier on, the outer edges were high polish, again aiding comfort. So discreet on wrist in terms of how it wears anyway, but anything but discreet in some respects in terms of the visuals you get when you're wearing it. Yes indeed, that is one spectacular wrist roll, from the hexad links to the sapphire bezel, to the fume fade brush dial. It's got a lot going on, but it looks fantastic. I mean, no shade on the pink one, there's a lot going on here, and in isolation it's a fine looking specimen, perhaps not quite as legible as the other because of that white against pink, but once you've seen the Neo Tokyo, for me at least, yeah, that's the one to have. But I said there would be moans, I said there would be niggles, so here they are. The loom. Now I remember the loom from the Shirahama version 1 being really pretty good, and initially at least it looks really pretty good on this watch as well. Sapphire bezel insert, you always get that kind of extra bright glow, at least initially. But when I turn the speed up, you can see by the end of the 20-minute test, it just doesn't look all that great at all. Now it's hard to judge the loom unless you have a comparison, so let's do a comparison. The watch on the left today is everyone's favourite $70 AliExpress special, the Steel Dive 1970. You would expect the much more expensive Shirahama to wipe the floor with the Steel Dive, but when I turn the speed up, you can see that it just doesn't. End of the test, the hands of the Namika are doing better than the Steel Dive, but in every other respect, the Steel Dive does better than the Namika. I've got to say, I don't find the combination of knurled crown and those small crown guards all that comfortable. It's not too bad when you're unscrewing the crown, but screwing the crown back in is literally a bit of a pain. I've been doing that numerous times all day filming this video, and my fingers aren't thanking me for it. And I have to say, I didn't enjoy the bracelet resizing experience either. As you can see here, it's got those double screws. So you've got to have 2 screwdrivers, a flat surface, and a lot of patience. I have 2 of those, but not the third. What, no DLC? Yeah, it seems strange to me that they haven't done an all DLC coated version in any of the different colorways. DLC was a bit of a brand signature from their first models. I guess they have the sales figures, perhaps they didn't sell as good as they looked, so to speak, but yeah, a bit of a surprise that they haven't continued that look on this version 2. And then there's the price. These are $629 US on a bracelet on pre-order. Now, they were a little bit cheaper than that on day 1, the 5th of August, but I missed the 5th of August, and if you're watching this video today, so did you, so that's the price on the bracelet. That's getting right up there for a Miyota-powered dive watch by a micro brand, even one as stylish as this. Especially considering that the version 1, even if you missed all the early birds, was nearly $300 cheaper. It was $349. Now I appreciate they have made material upgrades, but that's a big chunk of change between the 2 models when visually there's very little difference. And the pre-order price of these V2s is less than $50 cheaper than the RRP. It's a very odd business model, this micro brand world that we live in, where people will give you money in advance, months in advance of receiving the product. You're supposed to incentivize that by giving them a healthy discount. Less than $50 is not a healthy discount. There's an argument for just wait until December when there's stock of these things and you can get it delivered in 3 days rather than 5 months. I would have loved to have seen these $50 cheaper at least, so $589, $100 off the RRP, so there is a genuine incentive for giving the brand all of your money in advance rather than $46 or whatever it is. I don't think that's enough of an incentive, frankly. Now, if that all sounds like I'm nitpicking what is a good watch, well, yes, I probably am, but then, yes, that's my job. It is my job not just to glibly recommend everything that comes underneath my camera lens, but to critically analyze everything that comes beneath my camera lens. Credit where it's due, obviously, it's a fantastic design. I'm just not entirely convinced it's moved forward enough to justify almost twice the price tag of the old watch. So there you have it. Look, it's a really nice design here. It's a unique spin on the micro diver, and massive plaudits to Namika for having their own distinctive style already. Definitely a bit of wow factor as well, especially in this Neo Tokyo Evo version. $630 though on a bracelet means this time you are paying for that distinctive style. You are paying for that wow factor despite the material upgrades. Well done for making it all the way to the end. I did say I had reviewed 2 previous models. You should really check out those reviews while you're here, shouldn't you? Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you over there.